Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. That was super sweet of you, and welcome back to another episode of the Screen Time Report. I listened to your comments. You guys told me you like the Screen Time Report better than the Social Anxiety Blade, even though I literally didn't even end up making that the title of the video because I decided I didn't like it by like the same day recording the video. But anyways, it's the Screen Time Report. I'm back with one eye done. I know, you're like, what's happening? What's going on? I'm attempting grunge again because last week I thought I did a grunge makeup look and Instagram told me I didn't. But, you know, you guys are well aware that Instagram commenters, you know, can be mean for the sake of being mean sometimes. But in that case, I do think they were right because apparently this is more grunge. I don't know, not what this video is about. Anyway, today's topic is going to be how to not let social media kill your passion for art. And as always, I got my notes down there, so I'll be looking up and down. And if you're new to this series, buckle up, put on your casual pants, if you will, because this is a bit more of a casual series. That was me doing a very casual stretch. I've got my fun little socklies on here. You know, it's not really edited at all, so if I flub up, if I make a mistake, you just kind of gotta go with the flow. That's the way things go here, and I just kind of muse about what's on my mind. And lately, it has been how to not let social media ruin your passion for art. So let's get into it. That was the intro. Now we're in the meaty part of the topics here. So it can be really upsetting when you spend a long time on a makeup look, post it to Instagram, and it gets very little likes, or it doesn't get what your average of likes are, because of course everyone's average is going to be different. But it can be really upsetting when you have a look that you were like so sure was gonna be fire, like you finished it, you were like, wow, this took me forever, I put so much effort into this makeup look, I feel really confident about it, and then suddenly your confidence is shattered in a few hours when you see that it's not getting a lot of traction on Instagram or on TikTok or on Facebook, wherever you post it. And that can be a really hard feeling to grapple with. And you know, a lot of times we just immediately go to blame the algorithm and blame it on the algorithm, which, let's be honest, I do think it is the algorithm a lot of the time, because Instagram is trying so hard to keep up with TikTok and YouTube and everything that they're like constantly making all of these changes that cause the app to have glitches. So if you're noticing engagement in general is down on Instagram right now, you're not alone. It's very normal. But, you know, as much as I can sit here and say these things to you and be logical about it with you, I'd be lying if I told you that I didn't still think it was me a lot of the time. You know, I'll post, like yesterday, I posted my Mothman makeup look. If you want to go check that out on my Instagram, you can. at GlameGeoNYC. So I did this Mothman makeup look, which, if you don't know, the Mothman is a cryptid that originally popped up in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, but has been spotted in other places. And basically he's like this 10-foot tall Mothman hybrid, like kind of looks like a man but also looks like a moth and has these like giant wings and glowing red eyes. And he warned people of a bridge falling down, but also did he cause the bridge falling down? I could really ramble about the Mothman for a long time. But so I was really amped up about that makeup look, and it took me forever. Literally took probably like 5 hours because drawing the wings was really intricate and everything. You know, the look just took me a really long time, and I definitely, before I even posted it, I was like, I have hyped this up in my head way too much. I am inevitably going to be disappointed when it doesn't do as well as I want it to, which maybe I accidentally manifested that for myself. So maybe I shouldn't think that way. But either way, it didn't perform as well as I wanted it to. It didn't do badly by any means, and like, you know, a lot of people did still like it, but it wasn't getting a lot of comments or anything, which to me, that's like the true sign of success, because sometimes a video or a picture that I post won't do well, but it gets a lot of comments and it gets like really thoughtful comments, like this freaking series, the Screen Time Report we're doing right now. It's not my most viewed series on YouTube by any means, but your comments are so thoughtful and insightful that I don't care at all. But anyway, with this Mothman look, that was not really the vibe, you know? There wasn't wasn't a lot of conversation happening in the comments. It didn't even get its first comment for like a few hours. And I was so freaking bummed about it. I was like, oh man, I worked so hard on that look. I even disclosed in my Instagram stories, I was like, I worked really hard on this look. If you guys wanted to go give it a like. And it still didn't get the traction it deserved. And you know, like I was saying before, immediately we go to like, that dang old Instagram algorithm, it's its fault. This is Mark Zuckerberg's fault, right? Well, no, Adam Montessori is like the head of Instagram, but Mark Zuckerberg's head of Meta. Doesn't matter. But either way, I wanted to blame those men, but after a while I was like, oh shoot, maybe it's not as good as I thought it was. Maybe my art is not as good as I hyped it up to be. But the whole point of this episode is that we can't think that way, because it's so much worse to grapple with that than just blaming it on the algorithm. And here's the deal. I'm not saying that we should just blame everything on the algorithm. You know, if you're someone like me who does social media for a living, exhausting. No, not the hardest job to have at all. But like, if you are someone like me who does social media for a living, or even if you just like really like posting it and you want to grow on social media, maybe it's your dream to do it as a living, or at least, you know, to have a bigger audience, you know, it can be really devastating when a post doesn't perform well that you thought was going to perform well. And, you know, you try to view it from an analytical standpoint of like, okay, is it too long? Let me compare it to my other videos. Like, I typically try to go there. Like, I try to find, like, what was the weak spot? Why didn't people stick around to watch this video? And sometimes there's a clear weak spot, you know, like sometimes I can say, you know what, this video was long, I didn't get to the point until like 7 seconds in. Usually the general rule is like 3 seconds for people's attention span before they decide to keep scrolling. So sometimes you can point it out that way. Sometimes not everyone is gonna get it. And we talked about that last week with talking about Instagram commenters and everything. Not everyone is going to get your art, and that doesn't mean it's bad. You know, it just means that not everybody gets it. Like for me with this Mothman look example, I love cryptids. I love learning about cryptids. I love learning about the Mothman specifically. He's my favorite one, but I love cryptids. I love Bigfoot, all that stuff. I find super interesting. I'm not gonna say, you know, whether or not I believe one way or another. I believe. I feel like it's pretty obvious, but like I find that stuff so interesting. So in my head, I'm like, interesting topic. This is so interesting. Everyone is going to love this because I love this. But so I really hyped up this topic in my head thinking that everyone was gonna like it. And then when they didn't, I was confused and immediately blamed it on like the algorithm, but then my own art being bad. But you know, after further thought, after being a full 24 hours removed from it, I can just understand that not everybody is going to get all of your art, and that's okay. How can we make our brains realize that it's okay to make something just for you, and as long as you like it, that's all that matters? That's something I personally need to learn to grapple with, because I do sometimes view the goodness of my art, the success of my art, based off of how it's received. And I've had proof time and time again that that's not how anything works, you know, because like I have makeup looks where I've just done like a very basic graphic liner tutorial, basic winged liner tutorial, and those get so many more views than like my very intricate graphic liner looks, like my freaking Mothman look. I'm gonna keep using that as an example because it's relevant and recent, and I think it's a good example. My simple tutorials get a lot more traction than my intricate tutorials. You know, the simple tutorials are easier to do. More people can do them, therefore more people are expressing interest, and that's great. But does that mean that those tutorials are better than my more intricate ones? No, that's very easy, cut and dry for me to look at, because I'm like, obviously they're not better, they're much simpler, they're just different. You're looking at a simple look versus a very difficult look. You're looking at a 5-minute eye look versus a 5-hour eye look. That might be pushing it. You know, like 5-minute eye look versus like an hour eye look. So they're just not really comparable, you know? And like I was saying before, the simpler looks sometimes tend to appeal to a wider audience because people feel like it's easier for them to do. And in my head, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just still like the video, even if you didn't want to do it yourself? Because I like doing that. I follow a lot of people who do a type of makeup that I don't personally do on myself a lot. Like I follow Microsoft. If you guys follow her on Instagram, she does like full face art. She has her head shaved too, so she sometimes does like makeup all the way around her head. So freaking cool. I don't do makeup like her at all, but I still like following her and I still like her stuff, so it's hard for me logically to think like why people wouldn't still express interest in intricate stuff. But, you know, another thing we gotta remind ourselves is not everybody has the same interests as us. You know, it brings it all back to that statement I said before. Not everyone is gonna get your art, and that doesn't mean that it's bad. All right, I'm back with that eye completed. I needed a moment to gather my thoughts a little bit. I feel like I'm a little scatterbrained with this topic, but you know, with this series, I'm trying to talk about whatever social media thing is like weighing on my mind that week. And this has been really weighing on my mind because, you know, Instagram's been a little volatile lately. I mean volatile and like, you know how people say like stocks are volatile? I don't mean like actually like a dangerous place to be. I just mean unpredictable, which I guess is what I should have said, because, you know, like I was saying earlier, there's been a lot of changes and whatnot, and it's just like you never know if Instagram is gonna show your work to people or not. And at times like these, I try to remind myself, and it's hard because I do social media as a business, so it's hard to think this way, but I have to remind myself why I started posting makeup stuff on social media to begin with, which is the community aspect of it. That's why I made my YouTube channel back in 2018 and started my Instagram account shortly afterwards, because I was watching people like Nikki Tutorials and Patrick Starr, Jackie Ina, all of like Kathleen Lights, a lot of the like OG people, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like they're talking to me when I'm watching these videos. Like, it feels very communal. It feels very involved in a way that's different than just like watching people on TV. You know, 'cause I'm not a big reality TV person. If you are, that's amazing. I love that for you. Just for me, I've never really been able to get into any reality shows, but yeah, I just felt like this instant sense of connection with people that I followed on Instagram. I mean on YouTube, and then on Instagram when they started introducing more video, I felt more of a connection to people on there too, and I wanted to be a part of it, you know? When I made my YouTube channel, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was doing like random reviews of makeup that I was buying, random little tutorials. My first ever YouTube video is called A Super Easy Not Scary Eyeshadow Tutorial, and you know, I framed it in a way that made it seem like you were the one afraid of eyeshadow and really I was the one afraid of eyeshadow. But yeah, when it comes down to it, it's the community, which is why I do what I do, and I have to remember that when I'm posting a makeup look, even if it doesn't get a lot of traction, doesn't get a lot of new followers or anything, that shouldn't be what it's about. It should be about fostering the community that you already have, you know, and just knowing that if you keep doing what you're doing, you will attract like-minded people. That's what I really try to remind myself, is like, even if you're not, you know, sometimes I have a video go viral and I gain a bunch of new followers, but then they unfollow because they don't like the rest of the vibe. You know, maybe they liked that one viral video of me being like, people with hooded eyes can do a graphic liner and I'll show you how. But then they unfollow when they see that I also post a bunch of wacky stuff like Mothman graphic liner and whatnot. And, you know, that's okay. Let them come and go as they please, because you're always going to attract people who have the same interests as you. You know, I think if you just continue to be yourself online, that's the best thing you can do, because if you are just trying to make content to go viral that you're not actually passionate about, you're gonna attract a bunch of people who are just looking for that viral content, and then if you go back to making things you're passionate about, they're gonna be confused and they might unfollow then. So I have to remind myself of that a lot, because gotta get some base makeup back here. Sorry, I should pull that out before. Let me just pull out the whole base makeup drawer back here. This organizer is from Michaels, by the way. I freaking love it so much. It was like $30. I've thought about this many times because, you know, I've been lucky enough to have some videos go viral and get like millions of views on them, and it can be really tempting to see that little 6-second video I made, not really saying anything, went viral, and to make that my whole thing. And I tried to do that for a while. I'm sure you probably noticed on my Instagram there was a while there where I was just like posting like lip sync videos, like not singing, but like lip syncing over like a trending audio, and that was fine enough, and like I did gain a lot of subscribers from that, but it's not fulfilling for me. And I think you have to think long term when it comes to your social media. If you don't want to get burnt out on social media, you have to just think of what makes you happy and post that. And like I said, I do think that you will attract the like-minded people, even if it's not in a hordes, in droves, if you will, when you were to do like, you know, something a little more viral, something a little more trending. But I don't know. I think a few people who really vibe with you is much better than a bunch of people who don't vibe with you at all, you know, because I can say from having some videos going viral and then getting like subscribers who don't really know me. I keep saying subscribers, that's YouTube. Getting a bunch of Instagram followers who don't really know me, they tend to then like make demands a lot. I don't know. How do I phrase this? Sometimes when you gain a bunch of like followers from a video going viral, they then just start like leaving comments on everything being like, do this specific tutorial. I want to see this specific thing. And I always just want to say like, look at the page, look at my Instagram page. I've done a lot of this stuff already, you know, like, I don't know. I think some people are on Instagram for very specific things, like they're looking for someone who does like all tutorials, all this, all reviews of things, and they want to like request certain things. Like I used to get comments of people being like, can you review this new product? And I was like, are you gonna buy it for me? Like, what do you mean? You're just telling me to go out and buy this new collection and review it? I don't have the money to just go out and buy new collections. You know, I'm very grateful. I do get a lot of makeup and PR, but like I'm not that type of account. And if you are, that's fabulous. It's just like, that's not what I'm not financially able to do that at this time. So I don't know. All this, I'm definitely getting very rambly, but I just feel like this all ties back to just trying to be your most authentic self online. Because if you post something that you feel like is just a formula for going viral and then you gain a bunch of followers from that, they're going to continue to expect that from you. And it's not going to feel warm and cozy like it would if you are continuing to just like be your authentic self, post whatever you like to post. I promise you there's an audience out there. Even if you feel like what I like is weird, like I like cryptids, I like the Mothman, like, hey, I'm buying what you're selling. I'm into that too. But you know, that's just an example. But like, there will be people out there who are interested in what you are interested in, and they'll find you. You gotta put your hashtags in there so they can find you too. But like, they'll find you, you know, even if it's not a huge audience, there is an audience out there. And yeah, I think that all relates back to this topic of how to not feel burnt out with your art, how to not feel like, what did I name this? How to not let social media kill your passion for art, is to find that community, because that's what keeps me going. You know, I'll be having a rough day where I'm like, ugh, you know, I haven't had a video get more than an average amount of views like a couple weeks. It feels like I'm in a rut. What's going on? And then I'll get a really sweet, thoughtful, long comment from somebody about how I inspired them to try graphic liner for the first time because of this specific video. And I feel amazing again. Like, and that's the community aspect. If you find your community, they will fuel you. You'll fuel each other. You know, when I see friends in my community post new looks that maybe aren't like, you know, a formulation for going viral, but it's just like a really intricate eyeshadow look, I try to always make sure to leave a comment and say, yes, this is amazing. This is so wonderful. This is so you. This makes me so happy. Because you can tell when people post a photo of a look that is just so them, and you can see just that joy shining through. Even if they're not smiling, you see the joy shining through, and it just makes me so happy. So always good to call those things out, always good to do what makes you happy, and you'll find your community that is made happy by the same things. How gorgeous is this dark brown lip? This is Les Deux from Colourpop, spelled the French way, D-E-U-X, very fancy. I'll have all the makeup details listed down below. But yeah, in conclusion, keep being yourself. Trust that the community that is like-minded the same way that you are, that's repetitive. Trust that a like-minded community is going to find its way to you as long as you're continuing to be your authentic self. And just know that, like, going viral's not everything it's cracked up to be. I know that's, like, easy for me to say, you know, but, like, you know, it gets you a lot of views, which is wonderful, and a lot of new followers, which is wonderful, but also the more views your videos get and your posts, the more views your posts get, the more likely you are to get internet trolls who are gonna say mean things, just to say mean things. So, you know, it's nothing comes easy, nothing comes perfectly swimmingly, but yeah, I think if you just continue to be yourself, you'll attract those people. And if you do attract those internet trolls every once in a while, remember what we said last week, don't be afraid to whack that block button, ram on that restrict button. Remember, the restrict button makes it so their comments just disappear into the void and they have no idea that you're not seeing them and no one else is seeing them. Oh, it just gives me so much joy thinking about it. But yeah, remember, it's not worth your peace. You know, I think for a long time, look at me rambling on a new topic, but we talked about this last week. I think for a long time, I felt like I couldn't block people because I was like, ugh, that's shutting down conversation. I can't just block everyone that has a different opinion than me. Says who? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't block everyone who has a different opinion than me, but if someone's just leaving you comments like saying hateful things just to say hateful things, that's not really having a different opinion. That's just somebody being mean to be mean. I think it's perfectly fine to block people. Also, it's protect your peace. Like, you don't have to explain yourself for why you're blocking somebody. Someone left you a comment saying like, oh, looks like you got a smudge under your eye. You forgot to clean up. Block. Get them out of here. Who needs them? If it bothers you, then just block them. I'm trying to be better about doing that and deleting comments too. Like if someone leaves a comment that's already been left a bunch of times, nothing drives me more nuts than that. Oh my gosh, you know, if it's something innocent, like they're asking where you got a makeup brush from and you've already answered that question, happy to answer that again, no problem. But like this look I posted last week where I called the look grunge and then someone left a comment saying, oh, that's actually not grunge. Grunge would be like more smudgy and more like black and everything. And then like a bunch more people left the same comment. And I was like, can you see that I already responded to someone saying this? But people don't read through all the comments. So, you know, I gotta give them some forgiveness for that. But I do stay deleting repetitive comments if they bother me. Because you gotta do what you gotta do to protect your peace online and to, you know, not get burnt out. That's the whole point of the series. She's bringing it all back at the end. But I hope you guys liked this week's episode of the Screen Time Report. That's right, we're keeping the title. We voted on a title. You guys have told me that you really like that title. I was worried that I was gonna sound too like news reportery and you would be expecting me to give facts, but you guys said you liked the news reportery aspect of it. Reportery, if that's a word. So I like you for liking that, and because you guys are just so sweet. I can't wait to see your comments on this video. I still have to go back and answer some from the last couple videos. I'm so sorry if I missed your comment. It's just my brain everywhere all at once. But yeah, I definitely want to catch up on those comments. I would love to hear what you think about this week's topic. How do you not let social media kill your passion for art? Please do let us know, because I could use all the help I can get. And I thank you so much for watching. If you don't mind giving this video a thumbs up, that'd be great. Fabulous. Subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye!